a face, a fleet, a war, a man, a thought, a trick to break the walls of Troy and burn it screaming to the ground.
Hey, I love it. I'm here. I am here for all the theatrics, Frank.
Woo! That's
the best.
Well,
Gets me going.
Well, let's start it up. Welcome to the Fiction Podcast with your host, Frank and
Justin. I am amped for this episode.
We are very excited. Thank you all for joining us. This is sort of the accumulation of season 4, The Ancient World. We've been building up to this. We are now talking about the Odyssey, Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. We're going to spend 3 episodes on this. This first episode is just going to be Justin and I. We're going to debrief, talk about the movie, really just let it all out, get everything we want to do about this out there, relate it back to our themes that we've had throughout the season. And then the next 2 episodes, we're going to continue our discussion about the movie, but we're going to layer it. One episode, we're going to bring in an author and I would say classical studies, expert to talk about the Odyssey and Homer's The Odyssey mixed in with Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. So sort of talk about the layers like parfait.
Hey.
And then another episode, we're going to bring in 2 independent directors and we're going to talk about it through like the director's couch, right? Kind of look about the scenes, the filming, just talk about it from a more sophisticated point of view, which is why Justin and I are going to take a back seat and let those independent directors talk about it from their perspective. One of those, Wes Clark, has been on our show before, and Jay Scher will be joining him as well too. So super excited for those episodes, but this episode...
Well, we felt like we had to bring some experts in, some ringers.
Yeah,
so it wasn't just riffing the whole time.
No. But I'm excited for us to just, debrief. We have not talked about this besides sharing some videos about our initial reaction. And so we kind of wanted to go at this blind. We've not even had any text messages or talking about it outline. We just wanted to really just let that show in this episode. Obviously, we have an outline of what we want to talk about. But we haven't really done a deep dive.
To be fair, Frank has an outline. I've got nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Just like Captain Jack Sparrow, they're kind of like guidelines, right?
Yeah,
just guidelines,
You're at that part in the Odyssey where Odysseus is still trying to control everything, and I am out on the raft, just like let's see where it goes. Let's just see where things go.
Just let it be.
Let's let it be.
Okay. Well, just for everyone's education, right? So we've been talking about the ancient world. We've visited Asia, Africa, and we're talking about themes about who's legendary, who's a legend, but it all sparks from our discussion of Homer's epic poems, so the Iliad and the Odyssey, obviously leading up to Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. If you haven't seen it, we're going to tell you the reasons why you should, but also give you some caveats as well, too.
Or shouldn't.
Listen, if you're going to a theater, you must see it. That's spoiler.
We are jumping ahead, but I would agree. You should see this. You should definitely see this movie.
Yes. But we've talked about different heroes, right? So we've talked about Achilles chasing glory. We've talked about Leonidas and the Brave 300, choose sacrifice. We've talked about Moses and the Prince of Egypt, choosing duty. My lady, we talked about Mulan, choosing her identity. Amleth, sort of the great Viking tale, talking about revenge all day. And then my dude, T'Challa, talking about legacy. And so we've hit some other themes, but we want to now bring it back to Odysseus from the Odyssey. We're going to give a brief summary, spoiler-free, about the Odyssey. And then Justin and I are going to give our hot takes. We're going to talk about the cast, talk about the world building. That's when the spoilers will hit. Listen, that's when the spoilers will hit. So literally, you have 1 more minute, a spoiler-free discussion. After that, we make no promises whatsoever. So if you want to go watch it, go do that. Come back and listen to us. But if you want our hot takes, you want to get some fresh finds, we'll give you that now. If you've watched it already, please join the conversation. Join us. But hey, I know this is beautifully done movie, so I want you to enjoy it. But here's a little secret, though. The story's 3,000 years old. So really, it's already spoiled. It's spoiled, but to be fair, giving you that warning, basically T-minus 45 seconds now. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's fair. I think you should know the story. You should know the story. Or at least if you don't, be okay with whatever we talk about in this.
Perfect.
And
Perfect.
towards the spoiler, it's less about the story, it's more about the movie that we're gonna talk about that you may or may not like some of our takes on it. And so then you're gonna be going in, preconceived notions, thinking about
Yep.
that. So, take it however you want to do it. But go see this
Yeah.
movie.
Yes, for sure. All right. Quick summary. So this is Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, right? This is a 2026 adaptation of Homer's ancient Greek poem following Odysseus, the king of Ithaca, as he struggles to return home after the end of the Trojan War. His 10-year journey is filled with deadly trials, including encounters with the Cyclops of Polyphemus, the enchantress Circe, the sirens and the nymph Calypso, and the wrath of the sea god Poseidon. While Odysseus fights to survive and outwit both monsters and gods, his son, Telemachus, or Ptolemaeus, I don't know how people like to say it, begins his own journey to uncover his father's fate. Meanwhile, back in Ithaca, also his wife, Penelope, faces increasing pressure from powerful suitors who believe Odysseus is dead and seek to claim his throne. As the kingdom edges towards chaos, Odysseus must overcome his final obstacles to reclaim his home, reunite his family, and confront those who have taken advantage of his long absence and Zeus's law. Uh, the film follows the broad narrative of Homer's The Odyssey, bringing one of the literature's most enduring adventures to the screen through Christopher Nolan's cinematic style. Boom. All right. Let the spoilers begin. Justin, how do you feel about this movie? Share with us. Tell us.
Whew. And I know you posted my thoughts and you've got my post recording that I sent to you, and I really did walk out of it overwhelmed almost. There was so much to digest, and that's as someone who knows the story pretty darn well and has read the actual Odyssey, I don't know, 5, 6 times and knows it all. And I was overwhelmed. And then as I've had time to digest it and just appreciate it as a film, nothing to do with classics. I mean, probably partially just because I'm partial to the genre. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was really, really good. I thought it was incredibly well done. I mean, Christopher Nolan, holy smokes, you can put a film together, and it's long. There's a lot there, but it is a long tail. It is an Odyssey. It's an epic. It's gotta be long. But it
Mhm.
was it was absolutely just, it was so well done. And I know you're going to talk about other topics, and I don't want to go into all like the casting and all of that stuff, but just as a film, it was entertaining. The shots were amazing. The noise and the soundtrack and the sound effects hit all at the right time. Like there's a time where they were at war, or they were like just loud, and the entire theater was vibrating. And I was like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to listen to this whole movie if this is what this is gonna be like. And then all of a sudden it goes silent, and then like you can hear everything perfectly, and it's like it was just perfectly well timed and so well done, and it was a beautiful movie, and just all around I really, really enjoyed seeing this movie.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, no, I went with my father-in-law, and he's like, "Listen, I'm gonna admit to you, I think I know the story, but I'm not 100." So we like before the movie started, I kind of just gave him the Cliff Notes
Yeah.
version of it, and when it ended, as we're walking out, he kind of said like, "Thanks for giving me some of that context." But he's like, "I really like the movie, but thanks for giving me that
Yeah.
context." So I agree with you, right? Like because it wasn't so I mean, yes, there were some moments where it's blatant that we're sort of in a different world, right? By different world, I mean
Mhm.
ancient Greece and ancient Mediterranean, that kind of stuff. But the way he treated the gods and the way like the way like scenes change and how people talked, I definitely benefited. I felt that I knew the story, so I could see what he's adapted and where he's moving. So
Mhm.
that would be, as we said, when we talk more deeper into this, that's definitely like a blessing and a curse, in how you look at it. But just strictly like my feel, right? I walked into it. I think we talked about it. I was not as excited or I told myself not to be excited.
Yeah.
And then, my father-in-law is the one that actually told me to watch the 60 minutes because I always tape it, but I don't always watch it. So I watched that. I watched The Daily Show. I just like started to feel so excited because I started to feel, even though Christopher Nolan, his
Yeah,
passion is like he talks very like monotone and just doesn't, but like you can, I
yeah,
just started to feel the care that he put into this movie. And I was like, you know what? He doesn't miss. There's like few movies you can go, okay, they're average. Everything else is like above average and better. And
yeah,
Memento, one of my favorite movies. I mean, The Dark, all these things. I'm just thinking he's not going to miss. And
yeah,
the way it was filmed, the way the story unfolded, and we can talk about how true, not true it was to the poem itself, but for our generation and listening to the story, I was happy. The movie made me happy. The cinematography was just lights out. The acting was, if you appreciate what they were trying to do, was lights out. The casting, we'll talk about it. Lights out. It was a journey, and I think people need to remember that this isn't the Iliad. This isn't Troy. This isn't Gladiator. Even though there's some amazing fight scenes, especially towards the end, it was this is a journey, not the destination. And I think you went through the journey with both Tom Holland playing
yep.
Telemachus and Matt Damon playing Odysseus. And a little bit, that's my one gripe, a little bit with Penelope. I think her journey was a little bit softer. But just like you said, I, I was I was very blown away by the movie.
Glad you enjoyed it. I went alone. So I just chilled and watched this thing solo. And you know what? It was probably for the best. I was able to zero in, I was able to focus and actually
Yeah.
like not be distracted. I sat there with my Pepsi freeze
Yeah.
and
Dude,
small
I
popcorn.
saw that video. You risked your life and limb. That air quality was atrocious.
It was, the scary thing is there was a point. So those that didn't see my post, I was in Michigan and the air quality was terrible from the fires that were up in Canada and northern Minnesota and whatnot. It was blowing down. And so the air quality was just absolutely atrocious. We didn't want to leave the house. And so it looked terrible. And I mean, I was in like West Michigan. I was in like a smaller town. I wasn't in Detroit and
Yeah,
or some
yeah.
massive city. And man, it was awful. And there was a point in the middle of the previews that I'm sitting there and I could see like a faint haze. And I'm like, oh, this is not healthy. This can't be good. But that is how dedicated I was, Frank,
Yes,
to seeing this movie so we could
yes,
have this conversation.
yes. I
So we could have
love
this
it.
conversation.
I love it. I love it.
All right, let's get
Uh,
into it. Where do you want to start? Since you want to start with gripes, where do you want to start?
all right, listen. We love it. We talk about it every episode we do, whether it's a book or movie. Let's hit that world building because that's something for sure. And I think,
Whew.
I think people know this by now, but he filmed this. I'm gonna say old school, but it's not quite old school. It's new
Right.
school. But he didn't do digital editing. He filmed an IMAX camera, which there's a funny story if you've seen it. Tom Holland thought that he was doing the worst job imaginable because Nolan would cut every 3 minutes. And Tom's like, man, like I must be awful in this scene. He didn't know that the film was only 3 minutes long. So the IMAX film they used. So after 3 minutes, they had to go put it back and get another roll. So like basically every 3 minutes they have to rinse and repeat.
Which has to be tough.
That's
It
tough,
has to
man.
be tough as an
That's
actor
tough.
to get into your role
Yeah.
and
And they
focus.
literally cut, like snipped, piece things together. Like this is old school, but
Yeah.
he wanted the visuals, right? He wanted this movie to be bigger than life. And the only way to do that was to shoot how many thousands of hours
Yeah.
of IMAX footage and paste it together. So like with that being said, man, it's not the world he created. The visuals, the deserts, the beach, the Ithaca, the rugged countryside. It's not like it hasn't been done before, but it's the way it felt. And it's hard to explain. And I guess maybe going IMAX and seeing it, feeling it, and just feeling the grand scope of it, to me, that's what made the world building actually sing. It was like the way the characters interplayed with the world and the way like you felt the journey of Odysseus and Telemachus as they're going through it through the world. So I don't know, like I don't know like how else to explain it, but it felt like he did it right,
Uh-huh.
and he felt like they were at sea the appropriate amount of time, and it felt like the characters interplayed well with like their surroundings. But it wasn't anything special. But that's kind of my take on it. I don't know if you got anything different.
Yeah. I can see the standpoint. I think he hit the world building as best as he could because it wasn't some world he invented. It wasn't some
Mhm.
world we haven't seen. I mean, there are other renditions of the Odyssey. There are other, I mean, we've read it, or so, if you have read it, you've seen it. You've seen other takes on it. The world building was there, but it was shot so beautifully. I
Yeah.
thought it. I really do. I think it captured it, and it really felt like he was on, obviously, on an Odyssey, and he was going to all these different islands and these different locations, and each one was different. Whether he was running into like Cersei, or he, was like running into like the sun god and where the cattle were and doing all of that. And they're like different locations and they all felt so unique and different in
Mhm.
how they were shot that it actually felt like, holy cow, you've seen all these different lands and these areas and you've been to them. This must have taken forever because as we know and we see it, the world tends to gradually change, not just drastically shift
Yeah.
like that. So you get this in your mind that you think he has traveled so far to find these different lands and end up in these different areas. And so I think Christopher Nolan did, a spot on job. Couldn't really have done better with it, I don't think. But that being said, I think it's also because it was ready made. So I didn't feel like he had to go over the top with, say, like a Lord of the Rings, where you're creating this
Mhm.
whole fantasy world that doesn't really kind of exist. This is supposed to exist in our world as it is.
Yeah.
But, you know, he had to throw a little mysticism and gods in there. But I think it was great. I
Yeah.
thought it was very good. And really just with some of the shots and just how beautiful it looks and how big it made everything feel. And I don't just mean like the characters because I'm watching on this massive screen. I mean the world felt just massive. Just felt massive when you're watching this film.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think, Matt Damon has been saying in his interviews, right? Like, this was the hardest, like, thing he's ever done as an actor, right? And I think, you know, it we don't get to see it as much, but when you see it behind the scenes and them just filming at sea, like, the amount of time they spent at sea filming
Mm.
and just really, like, getting that vibe so that you feel like you're part of that journey, that's sort of like the big hits that I really enjoyed, and fun story, I think it was, John Burt was it Bernthal, right? John Bernthal?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he
Yeah.
is it, why do I always get his last name wrong? John yeah, Bernthal, yeah. So
Yeah.
he Punisher, he plays, Menelaus, right? So
Mhm.
Agamemnon's brother, and, Matt Damon was talking about like he set the tone at filming. So when they were in the Trojan Horse, which I think we should talk about. So I'm going to start that discussion now. So they did the Trojan Horse a little bit different, right? But they didn't have wheels to it because most stories have the wheels where they wheel it into the city of Troy, right? And this one they had it where the horse was built with the legs and it was half buried in the beach, about to be washed away to sea. So just like a different sort of take on it. And these guys were filming inside, right? And I think Matt Damon was like, so John was in there and he was like supposed to be half submerged because when there's one scene where like they're all getting submerged because of the water,
Yep.
because they have to do so many takes because of 3-minute films and all that. John is just at a point where he's just shaking and just freezing. And he was like, Nolan was like, "Are you okay?" And he could see John just like holding his hands together, pressing his thumbs
Yeah.
together, trying to control his body so that he can do one take without freezing. And he's just like, keep going, keep going. And it's just like the dedication of them just like being in the elements, right? I mean, Matt
Yeah.
Damon was in the at sea for who knows how long, but I really like some of the artistic licenses he takes. And I think for me, someone who knows the story, it's fun to see how that plays out. So the Trojan horse is one that I really enjoyed. I mean, that whole dynamic of it and how they get the horse into the city. And I thought that's just, yeah, something that's
I
unique and nice.
Yeah, I think it also makes it feel a little bit more realistic, right? Like they
Yeah.
put it on there, it looks more like it was left behind as an offering, which is how
Yep.
they saw it. It's partially buried in the sand, so and it out to sea. So it's like people aren't gonna be in there. Like, come on,
Yeah.
you'd have been like dumb. Like you'd have put this somewhere where no one would die in it for
Exactly.
sure. And it's like you had
Exactly.
to sell it. And it was refreshing not to see it on a set of wheels, like,
Yes.
right? Like, that's
Yes.
what I was, like, waiting for. I was like, "Oh, great. Here comes the miniature toy on wheels,
Yep.
where they just
Yep.
pull it on in," and it
Uh-huh.
didn't feel like that at all. So it felt a little more realistic na like, it felt a little bit more like, "Oh, I could see now why they're like, 'Oh, this was an offering. We're taking this,' as
Yeah.
opposed to something that's like." "Hey, check out how convenient this is. It's been placed on wheels for you to roll into your city." And it was like tight quarters, and by having to go underwater like that, it really felt more like realistic. Like people were dying. There were sacrifices made by individuals that
Yep.
were in that horse, that they didn't all just magically make it in and all magically survive. Like they had to make a sacrifice themselves to be in there. It wasn't like the sacrifice in the sense of a sacrifice to the gods, but a sacrifice of men that they were probably hoping they didn't lose, but
Yeah.
they had to.
Yeah. I mean,
So
I even like Elliot Page's character sign on. I felt for her. I'm sorry, him.
yeah,
Freudian slip there. I felt for him because it's like it, you see that character literally just gets killed in the first scene, and then
right.
you get to see the back play of that character being tricked into being a volunteer, and then volunteering to do something without even knowing the full story, right?
Yeah,
So I think, yeah, like just things like that. And then the individuals who, like you said, who died, they were checking to see if there was anything in the horse by stabbing him with a sword. I mean,
right.
or drowned while it was at sea. So I think, yeah, it was unique, man.
Yeah, and there was some like nice touches because you brought that up, right? Like so, Elliot Page's character, it's Sinan,
Yeah, sign on, yeah.
and
Oh, Sinan, yeah,
so like comes back later, obviously,
as a
and it was
shade.
great,
Yeah,
right? Because I was like, well, that was a really like quick. I didn't realize what was going to happen
yeah,
with their character, and so Sinan comes in later, and I was like, okay, thank goodness, because I was like, that was like the smallest little cameo I was ever
yeah,
expecting. I was expecting
yeah.
something larger, and
No,
then like what you said is one detail, which is super random. This is what sticks out in my mind, but it's something I would have a gripe with if they hadn't done it, is when they're stabbing into the horse, and they stab into the horse and they cover the guy's mouth
yeah,
so he doesn't say anything, but then you see the guy behind him take a cloth and wipe it down the sword as he
yeah.
pulls it out so you can't see the blood come out. I was like blown away
We've seen that
by
before,
this little
haven't we?
detail.
We've
We
seen that
have,
detail before.
but I'm just trying to say how much
Yeah,
I loved that,
yeah.
because I'm like, that's what you like. It's minor little things that
That's
go
yeah,
into it
man.
though that
Yeah,
make it so thoughtful that you're like,
yeah,
well done. Because it's very easily could be something that's overlooked that gets stabbed in, pulled out, and
yeah.
it's like, oh, magically there's no blood as it comes out. And it's like, no. There's a guy there grabbing it, and that like it was just cool. It was just
Yeah.
cool. It's
No,
like
I
those
totally
little
agree.
things I
I
really
totally
appreciate.
agree. I totally agree.
Sorry, you went over there, so I had to go off on my
No, no,
tangent.
no. That's good. And I think we talked about this when we did a preview episode, saying like, what do we need to see in the movie for us to really think it sings? I asked for grit. I got grit, right? And this is actually not my gripe, but I think some you've got some classical study folks who might have some gripe with Odysseus, which we're going to talk about the character and Matt Damon in a little bit here. But so I got the grit, and then what I wanted was the story to match the poem. I wanted flashbacks. It was spot on. Obviously, they skipped over some things, which is completely fine. You can't do all of that in 3 hours, but the flashback and then the unique way they did it with the mixing of the gods and the nymphs, but not
Uh-huh.
necessarily telling you that they were like elementals or gods and nymphs or anything like that. I actually thought that was smart, but again, it takes away from some of Odysseus in his journey. So that's something I think obviously we could talk a little bit about, but I thought that was a really good way. And then the last thing I'll mention is sort of like a hot take slash world building slash scale, whatever. Athena, so Zendaya, which by the way,
Mhm.
I feel like we used to be 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon. I think we can say 7 degrees of Zendaya. I mean, you
Probably.
got, you got
Yeah.
this like castle, you got Tom Holland and then John Berthal, Spider-Man, Homecoming. Tom Holland
Right.
and then you got Robert Pattinson,
Yeah.
and then you've got the Dune. You got all this stuff that's
Yeah.
just
It's
crazy,
all
man.
over the
It's
place.
crazy. Anyway, Zendaya playing Athena. I loved how they made her more of his conscience, right, or his psyche than like the goddess herself. And for folks who probably, if they hadn't read the poem, they may just consider her to be a figment of his imagination.
Yeah.
And that could be just fine because she's the only living god that they embody, right? Because Calypso is a nymph and all the other stuff. So interesting. I thought it was very interesting. And I use that word in a non Minnesotan or Midwestern interesting. I actually
Yeah.
thought that was interesting. I thought it was nice. It was a good take.
Yeah, I thought it was, from that standpoint, I thought that was really well done. I mean, I think she did an amazing job, and I thought they did a great job because, like, that's the whole idea, right? Is in the poems is not everyone sees the gods that are there. It's only
Hmm.
they only choose to come to the person that they're trying to work with and work through. And so I think that was the right thing to have it done that way.
Yeah.
And I think she did a great job. It's I am really struggling to find some gripes. I'm gonna be honest. I have a few,
Oh,
but
I got gripes.
I bet you always have gripes. You got gripes on gripes on gripes.
You know it. You
Jeez.
know it. Just like flowing. Uh-huh. But okay, let's do you want to do gripes or do you want to hit like the characters and do like maybe some of that and
Let's
then yeah?
let's let's get your gripes out of the way.
Okay. They're not many. They're not many. I lied
Okay.
to you. They're not many.
Okay.
So you said you don't have any or you're struggling to
No,
find
I
any?
mean, I think I appreciate that you said you wanted it more true to the poems. You wanted flashbacks and you wanted that. I think the hardest thing is that it's difficult. If you don't know the story or know any of it, it is
Yeah.
going to be difficult to digest the entire film
Yeah.
and really appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah.
Just that's and that is a gripe from not for myself, but I can see where
Yep.
someone is gonna go see that, and there's gonna be a problem, and they're gonna say they didn't like it as much as they did, or could have, or should have, because they didn't know the story, or they didn't realize what was going on. There were a couple of flashbacks that happened so quickly that I had to catch up, and main reason I caught up was because I knew what was going on, I know the
Yep.
story.
Yep.
And so I think that would be the biggest gripe is that it's just tough, but it's because it is such an epic. And
Hmm.
I mean that the story's an epic. We know that the poem is an epic. The movie's an epic. It's a 3 hour long film. It's an ordeal. There's a lot to take in. And I already found myself, I think it was yesterday, found myself being like, you know what? I want to go see it again
I do too.
because I need to see it again because
Yeah.
I know there were things that I missed just because I was trying to take it all in.
Yeah.
And
I
so
yeah.
that I think is and in today's world where we wanna consume information so quickly and we just want little blips and we want things to be quick and we just wanna know it and be done, that is, I think, gonna be the biggest gripe
Yeah.
that comes back. And, wasn't a gripe for me, but I could see where that's a huge issue, and so that's the gripe I am putting forward.
Yeah. I think it's got the memento effect or the usual suspects effect where it's like, all right, now that I see where it ended, maybe I need to start again to like
Yeah,
digest some of those things.
yep,
I think for me, it's because of the difference between the poem itself and how like the gods are depicted and some of the things where want to review it from like understanding where he's taking it because the ending, spoiler, in the movie is different than the ending in the poem. They make
right,
Odysseus into a slightly different character. And I think for our 21st century, where we are, I think that makes sense, but that's not who Odysseus was in the poem. So I think
right.
now knowing that that's where they ended him up with, it may be good to like revisit it, right? But I agree with you. The gripe on having context is key because if you don't, you're gonna see it differently, and I think that will lessen how you view the movie.
Yeah,
That's my general thought. Yeah.
but it's to be clear, I'm not really upset about it.
Yeah, because
I could just see
yeah,
right. I can see where that's going to be an issue for some people because there were moments that I found myself having to catch up. I was like, "Wait,
yeah,
wait, wait," and it was clicking. It was
yeah,
just so yeah.
yeah.
So,
So
all right, let's hear your gripes.
the
Let's
next
hear
gripe is
your gripes.
actually this is actually not my gripe. So my
Okay.
brother Jeff actually shared this with me. There's an
Ooh,
article
shout
out
out to Jeff.
yeah,
Shout
yeah.
out to
Good job,
Jeff. My
Jeff.
boy. Love
There's a
Jeff.
there's an article out there. So obviously folks who've done translations on these or done books similar are seeing an uptick in sales. But even though they're seeing an uptick in sales, they're a little bit gripey. So my I like her translation. So this is Emily Wilson,
Mhm.
and so she's done both the Odyssey and the Iliad, both good if you ever need a translation. And Nolan quotes her right. He likes her beginning, the way she started the Odyssey, and he uses that in his film. She watched it with her kids, and she's like, "Listen, if you I will recommend this. Please go see it in the theater, right?" But she's like, the way Odysseus and Penelope, and I do agree with Penelope, the way Odysseus was transformed, he was less the witty, you know, less sort of like not necessarily happy go lucky, because he's never happy go lucky, but
Right.
he's now the everyman, the introspective, and his the PTSD is more apparent in the Nolan version. And I
Right.
think when you think about Nolan's main characters, like in Oppenheimer, in Memento, in Batman, that is the kind of introspective sort of PTSD kind of
Right.
focus that he has. And so they're like, you've changed Odysseus. Does that help or hurt the Odyssey? Right. So I think that is definitely a gripe, from a historian's point of view, right? Or historian, right? A classic point of view.
It
But I do agree with the Penelope one. She was
Wait, hold on, hold on. Before you go further, I
okay.
wanna I
Yeah.
wanna address the Odysseus one, which
Okay.
I hear 100% you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with that
Okay.
whatsoever. I think my biggest response would be that it is the everyman. The idea is that, like, you make characters so people can relate to them,
Yeah.
so that way they become bigger fans of them, because then this is a little less like, this is the difference, like, with Hollywood is we I think the general populace wants people that they can relate to and see themselves in it, or see a relationship of, oh, this person's human and this is it. Unless of course it's a Marvel movie, then, well, then we all still think we can relate to them.
Yeah.
But I think that makes them more appealing, uh, and relatable, and so I think that's part of what happens there, and so it gets lost. But I also think that's just part of Hollywood. I'm
Yeah.
not saying right or wrong. I hear what you're saying, but that
Yeah.
was just something I wanted to add in there.
I mean, it gets rid of some of the grim darkiness,
Yeah,
of
yeah,
him.
sure.
Because,
New
like,
word.
you get to forgive him a little bit easier, right? Even the whole Calypso episode, right, in the poem, he yes, he's more intentional in his, I wouldn't say betrayal, but in his cheating of his wife than in,
Yeah.
like, the movie.
Oh yeah.
Calypso in the movie sees that he's in pain and he's having some serious remorse, and she gives him the lotus to eat
Right.
to take away his memory. So he
It's
doesn't know he's cheating, right? So, like, you
right.
make him more likable in the
Okay.
movie, which, like you
Let's
said,
be clear. He knows what he's doing in the book. All right, y'all. He
oh, yeah,
knows what he's doing.
of course he that's I actually had a friend. He's actually been a guest host for us. So Dave, he is reading the Odyssey for the first time, and he like hit me up and said, "Yo, what's up? I'm at a chapter here where he's cheating on his wife with this nymph out in the ocean," and then he's like, and he was just like, "I thought this guy was like the everyman," and I was like, "Yeah." Read on, my friend. Read on.
Yeah.
So there,
Welcome.
yeah,
Welcome to Homer and his epics.
exactly. So I agree with that. I think that does change it. Penelope for me too. I think she wasn't as strong and as witty as she was in the poem, but she was still
Agreed.
strong, like, right. But it just her translation wasn't as good. But again, Anne Hathaway, amazing. So I can't
Okay.
fault too much.
I'm waiting to hear like what your take is on
Yeah.
each of the actors and their
Well,
physical roles.
we're definitely gonna hit that.
No,
Definitely gonna
I'm
hit that.
excited.
I think the other gripe for me, honestly, is we don't get like the internal dialogue that drives the poems. Like the gods are sort of like the narrators, right? As we
Yeah.
go through, you don't get that. And as much as I love the poetic transitions that they made and the way they spoke, like John Berthal was like, just man, my dude,
Yeah.
I didn't know you could drop those lines, but
Yeah.
it was also odd. It was kind of felt like almost Shakespearean, like it was just a different way of talking, and without context, it was kind of lost. They dropped the gods without dropping the gods, right? They were like, hey, this is for Athena. No, sorry, this is for like Athena. This is for
Right.
Apollo. This is for Poseidon. We got to respect them. But we never felt the gods.
Yeah.
But then we felt the consequences of the gods. So it was like, it felt like even in the beginning where, they kill the individual who said this is for a gift, for the gods,
Right.
right? And they're about to like, but they decided to haul it in anyway. That wasn't fully explained to understand like why is there such a respect or sacrifice towards them. And then no one knew, if you hadn't read the poems, that Circe, the sorceress, was actually like, she had some god in her, or the
Yeah.
nymph Calypso. And so I felt like that was, I wouldn't say rushed, because it's hard to say rushed in a 3-hour movie, but I
Right.
felt like that was just something that hurt the narrative just a little too much, you know?
It's tough. It's a 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
You've got to fit this entire thing in.
Yeah.
The story has to make sense. But, if they started leaving out certain trials that we wanted in there, like, we would have been ticked off as well.
Exactly.
And so it's like,
I
you
What
gotta
do you
find that
leave? What do you
balance.
take? What do you leave? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my
And
last
I was gonna say, to add to that, is if you have more of the god intervention and the
yeah.
gods that are in there, it becomes, I think it would become more comic book-esque as opposed to what it was the journey of the man going back and
Well,
going home.
I mean, think about it though. Like you can go really down gritty. We just did a movie, The Northman. You can bring
Yeah,
in the spiritual and make it just like
that's what I was waiting for.
there we go.
Perfect.
I did
That's
do that.
exactly what I was waiting for.
But like
Yeah,
you
but see, even that in that, I didn't take that overly seriously when they were doing that in that movie.
uh, hey,
I was
yeah,
like,
yes, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. I would say the biggest it's not a gripe, but the biggest transition for me is the ending.
yeah, let's hear it. I knew this was coming. I've
I
been waiting.
I,
Let's go.
I so Odysseus, and I always say his name wrong, and I know Professor Foss, we had him on the first set of, is it Telemachus? Is that how you say it, or Telemaeus?
Say
Tele-
however you want to say it.
okay, so Tom Holland's character, Odysseus' son, like
I
he was great. Tom Holland was great,
I thought it was
but his
Telemachus.
but Telemachus, that sounds a lot better. Thank you,
I think it's
Telemachus.
Telemachus.
I for some reason I could just never say that word.
I think
Okay,
that's how you actually say it,
there we
Telemachus. Now
go.
I'm like running through my head, and I'm like, I think that's actually sorry. So
Yeah,
Tom Holland character Telemachus, aka
Telemachus.
Mister.
I don't like the last one third of his character because I felt like he got lost in the sauce because in the book, the poem, he does fully go revenge with Odysseus and they embrace that. And that's part of his quote unquote becoming a man.
Uh-huh.
And for better or worse, he does some bad things also in him becoming a man, right? And then in the movie, I just feel like he's still cuddled as a boy, even though
Uh-huh.
there's reasons why he's not put into the whole revenge plot to keep him clean so that he can rule. But still feel like he never grew into a man. Not necessarily that he need to be like killing other people, but I just felt like it just it just didn't sing to me as well. And then Odysseus going out west and sort of like sailing into the sunset with Penelope and not actually facing the consequences for what he did. Because in the poem, even though he
Yeah.
is righteous in his revenge, there were consequences, my friend. And those
Yeah.
consequences came. But then obviously the gods intervened. So there's no gods intervene in this system that Nolan put together. But then it just felt too neat. It was much as like needing a bow when he sails out to the west. So that's my only gripes, but it still
Yeah.
was a good movie.
So there's I'm not disagreeing with those gripes. I'm gonna answer or
Oh,
counter
okay.
possibly, right?
Okay. Let's
Is I
hear it.
mean, like, how much you can't have the after effects because the movie has to wrap up. We were at 3 hours, and you could have added 3 more hours to the
Yeah.
whole journey before you add the after effects. So I get it, but it's still tough to add all of that. I think with Telemachus, I think it does kind of keep him sort of innocent out of like the blood on his hands, but he does blood his first blade or whatever, or gets this, actually gets kills someone
Yeah.
upstairs
Yeah.
when they're fighting. I forget what his name is, but when they're doing that, and so he does like he gets that what they consider becoming a man, or however you want to look at it. I hear you.
I'll make a
I
man out of you. Sorry. Go ahead.
see that's fine. But I agree with you. I get it. I had the same gripe. I knew that was coming. I had a similar gripe with how it ended, and it just like it was a very Hollywood esque ending. Like it
Yep.
wrapped it up in a tight little bow, but it had to. I still would have liked more. But you also know that I am a fan of like, hey, it doesn't always have to be happy endings. We can
No.
have this end and be like, made it
That's what I
home, but
wanted.
oh
That's what I
Lord,
wanted.
there's the next.
I wanted them to get their revenge, find their family, but then know that the stuff is coming, right?
Yeah.
And the way they made it in this turnaround was that the Dark Ages was coming. But I kind of wanted to be more visceral. I kind of wanted them to really feel it. And then honestly, fade to black when you have Odysseus with his son, Tele-
Telemachus?
Telemachus, thank you. And then Penelope just putting her shoulder on Odysseus, and then he's like sitting at the king of the throne, and you see the horde coming, and he's like, "Bring it on!" I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just wanted a little bit more dark
That's fair.
for my
That's
ending.
fair.
That's all.
That's fair.
Okay, listen, we've hit heavy on this.
I know
I
we've gone all over the place.
I think we can still bring it back. Well, let's not isolate Odysseus. Let's bring him into our game. So for
Okay.
those who've been listening and watching, we love to do heat map, right? So hot, the character was just on fire throughout the entire production. Warm, good character, could follow the character, likable character. You're there. Tepid, like, okay, you're here. We'll deal with you. You're cool. Whatever.
Yeah.
Cold, get out of here. Now, a bad character, villain, can still be hot, can still be warm. It doesn't mean that they need to be cold. So let's bring Odysseus into this game. We can spend a little bit more time on this, but let's start with Matt Damon, Odysseus. What is he for
So
you?
I have to start this with a just a warning. I
Okay.
thought the cast was phenomenal. I
Uh-oh.
really did. So I'm
Uh-oh.
gonna have a really tough time. I'm going to try to like but I thought everybody did such a good job in their
Okay.
roles. I
Okay.
really did.
So
So
this is
like
a
it's gonna
cop
be
out,
kind of it's
all
no
warm
no.
for you.
It's gonna be kind of boring, I think. Like there's I didn't I you know, all I have is my Ron Weasley award and I don't even know the guy's name.
Don't worry. We'll fix that. Okay. So Odysseus, is
Okay.
he
I
hot or
mean,
warm?
I think Odysseus. I think he's warm because I think he's just. I think he is. I think Matt Damon does a and Matt Damon does a great job. He could win an Oscar for this, but it's warm because he is just solid all the way
All the
through.
three. Yeah.
It's just he is a rock. It's not like every scene is just like amazing, but he's just a
Hmm.
rock all the way through this entire movie. He holds it all together. Does a really nice job. But
Yeah.
it's warm because it's not like blown away. It's just so good. Such a good
Yeah.
performance all the way through.
You mentioned rock. You know how I feel about my abs, Justin. 300, that episode.
Yes. We're back.
Dude, 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 dude. Matt Damon got jacked for this
Yeah,
movie.
he did.
That's the first scene when you see him. He's on the beach. You're like, huh. Oh, Matt Damon looking pretty solid out here. No, I just have to mention that because I was like, all right, good for you, Matt. Good for you.
Yeah.
No, he was warm. I thought he did a good job. I think he played the role he needed to play really well. And I don't honestly, I know some people who were upset he got picked.
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
not. I'm not. I'm not at
Fine,
all. I
let
mean,
if they're still upset after seeing that, then
seriously,
they're
seriously.
bananas.
Yeah. I mean, like, if you think about how Odysseus could have been cast, more of a trickster, more of witty. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
I mean, Matt Damon can still do that. Matt Damon's
right.
he's got layers, bro, like
He's got
parfait.
layers, he's got range.
He got range.
Like
But
Odysseus has got range.
yeah, but I think the way that Nolan casted this character, and I think
Yeah.
Nolan specifically went to Matt for this. I cannot disagree. Warm, not hot, because again, he was in too much of the scenes, and like hot would be scorching, burning. And I mentioned a gripe about him already, so I can't go hot. So he's warm. Okay, Tom Holland,
Go ahead.
Telemachus. I'm I'm tepid, man.
Really?
This is not on Tom, not on Tom. It's the character. If I'm saying the acting by Tom Holland, I think Tom Holland is warm for me. I think I those first scenes, I was really impressed. Like,
Yeah.
I thought he
Yes.
really like
Yes.
I was worried that he wouldn't be able to carry it on to Matt Damon if they did the flashback, because it starts with him, right? And he really killed it. I think he killed it. The character though, again, the character did not sing for me. He just did not, and that's mostly because
It's
of
fair.
the way it was written for him in the last couple of scenes.
Just hurt
So
you?
that's yeah,
Would it have been warm if it hadn't been for those last couple scenes?
exactly. It would have
So
been
I
warm.
think it's important that we have a just there you're a good point here is there's a little bit of a distinction though between character and the actor that plays it. And we're
Yeah.
kind of blending
We're blending.
that
We're blending.
together.
Yeah.
Since we're
Yeah.
blending, I'm gonna stick with warm because I thought he was really good. I was blown away, especially at the start that it came in so well that I was so
So well.
taken
Yeah.
aback that I think I was basically like, he would have to fumble this
Yep.
to ruin his view or my view at the end, and he didn't. He played the role that was written for him. He did a great job. Tom Holland smokes, man. You're up there, and like you're in a movie with some studs, and I mean that like you were with Matt Damon and Anne Hathaway, who are amazing,
Yeah.
amazing actors. And Tom, you hold your own,
He held
not
his
just
own,
as
man.
like a quirky Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You dominated this, and I thought he did really well in that role. So I got to keep it warm just because I was so impressed
No, I was
with his
yeah.
role.
Totally agree.
But I'm saving my hot for two characters
Oh,
specifically.
okay. Well, let's see.
So
Let's get the next main character, Anne Hathaway, Penelope, Odysseus's wife.
go ahead. I'll let you go first.
This is not her fault, man. I'm telling you, this is not her fault. I see. This is hard for me. I think a lot of my warm and hots are actually not going to be the main characters because I think Penelope. I love Chris. I love Christopher Nolan. I just think the way he
When he
wrote
hears
her.
what you have to say, he's gonna be so pissed.
Well, you know what? He's actually going to appreciate this. He never tells you what he thinks or how he's like what drove the character this or that way because
Yeah,
he wants us to do it, right? So
yeah,
this is just me saying, based on the poem, she should have been more wittier. She should have been more. But I will
yeah,
give you this: in our modern world, she was the right range of indignant and boy being her son. You better step back. She's like, this throne's been empty for 20 years. She goes,
yeah.
empty? I've been sitting on this throne. I've been keeping this place together. Who been keeping this together? Me. So I will tell you this. I love that.
Me.
Me. I thought she played that well. But then her wittiness did not show through, which again, in the poem, Odysseus,
That's
his named reason why he goes back to her is that she matches his brain. She matches who he
yeah.
is. So I'm saying it's like tepid to warm. Tepid to
It's
warm.
it's once again, it's boring, but it's warm because Anne Hathaway does such a great job with this role that I'm just like I can't. I
Yeah. She's amazing. Listen, she's amazing. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So Anne, if you're out there listening, I thought you did a phenomenal job.
Hey,
Brian,
Ann, if you're out there listening, because you're an Arsenal fan like me, you always do a phenomenal job.
oh,
So this just like,
Lord, vomit.
okay, Zendaya, Athena, let you take this one.
You don't even start talking about footy right now. Zendaya was great again. I don't know what you want me to say. Like I thought she was very good. It's another warm. It's not one of my hots. Not one of my hots, but very warm. I thought she did a wonderful job. It's pretty awesome to, and I mean this with Zendaya and with Tom and with another character we'll talk about in a little bit, to see their careers and just be like, guys, they're
Yeah.
good. They're they're very good. And I think that those two are excellent actors. And I'm like more after seeing this and seeing them, both Tom and Zendaya, because I'm putting them together.
Yeah.
Is like I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm actually excited to see whatever else they're in after seeing them in this. I'm like, holy smokes! I know you guys can.
Well, they're in everything. So
Yeah, I know. So it's great. I've got a great. It's going to be great for me.
yeah.
So I give it another warm.
Okay. I'll give him warm too, because I do like the way Nolan played Athena.
Mhm.
I like the way he made a character, and she did a good job on it. Enough said. Robert Pattinson playing Antonius. So he's the main baddie, the main suitor who's going after Penelope. I, I'm going to give him a warm because he played the most despicable character and he played it so well. And I think Tom Holland actually made a joke because he was like, he felt
Yeah.
like, because he said, I'm starting the movie and I have to carry it to Matt Damon. And I felt kind of nervous until I saw that Rob Patton was going to be in the movie. And he's like, you play the best dickhead. So it was perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Which,
was a good line. I've seen that
which,
everywhere too.
yeah, I don't know if he used the right, I don't know if it was dickhead
That
was
is
the
the
word
right
he
word.
used.
That
That
is the
was
word.
okay.
That's the word
Perfect,
he used.
perfect, perfect. But no, I listen, I have a soft spot for all my Harry Potter alumni. But he did the
Cedric.
role. Yeah, Cedric Diggory, man, rest in peace. He did the role justice. He did exactly how I wanted that role depicted based on the poem. And I hated everything about him. And I was like, well, he must have done something, right? So
Yeah.
warm for me.
Scorching hot, man.
Oh,
He was awesome. He was awesome. I thought he did such an amazing job at that role. I don't care what anyone says. I thought it was amazing. Robert, whew, that was great. You're up there with my boy Glenn right now. You're up there with my boy Glenn
what?
Powell. I was
How?
just blown away. I was so impressed with him. I was
Okay,
just like, dude, this guy is just talented.
okay,
And I
okay.
thought he nailed that character. Like you said, I was like, God, I hate this character, but he is doing such a good
Yeah,
job. I was
yeah,
just blown away. I
yeah,
loved it.
yeah.
I loved how well he played that character, how
Yeah.
he did it. Scorching hot. Boom. Sorry. I could have
I
been
will I
quicker on
will
it.
say,
Sorry.
like, if it felt kinda cheesy, but the way he did it kind of worked the ending battle scene when Odysseus is just going to
Yeah.
town on the suitors. And I think it's like the blacksmith, whoever is like dropping the weapons down
Yeah.
to the floor so that the suitors can have something to fight with. And he's just like cowering away in the corner. It's like, spear, spear, someone
Yeah.
go do it, someone go kill him.
Yeah,
And it's just like,
exactly. But it fits his
like
character
it
perfectly.
fit it perfectly. Like it was like almost like too caricature, but like the way like his he emoted and the way he did it, I was just like, you know what? No, this is actually pretty good, man. This
It
is
was
pretty good.
great. It was so good. I was just
Yeah.
he was one of the hots that I was waiting
All right.
for.
Well, let's I definitely want to hit so I Lupita, sorry, I always mess up your last name. Is it Nwongo? I always mess it up. So Lupita, she played both
Yeah.
Helena Troy
Yeah.
and she played Clytemnestra. So Menelaus' wife and Agamemnon's wife. What do you think?
So it was she's tepid. And it's not her fault. This is
Uh-huh.
an
I
example of
thought they
where
were all
I know,
worm.
no, but I know. What I didn't say cold,
Okay. Okay.
but I think that the acting was there. But this is a case where the character was just so minor that it's hard to carry the scene unless you have some like super memorable role or play a pivotal part
Yeah.
in this. The character's role is more in Troy. Like that is more where Helen is played
Yep.
and less so in the Odyssey. And so I just think the character didn't have enough time to develop or enough lines even to
Yeah.
really be anything but just tepid there for me. But I thought she
Yeah.
did a great job. I
Yeah.
just yeah.
No, this is funny. I'm gonna have the same comment you have, but then I'm gonna name another character and have a different comment, and they both have the same amount of screen time. But yeah, Helen was not given Helen-esque lines as in the poem. But again, you have to truncate everything. It's only
Right.
3 hours. So yeah, she wasn't in it enough, and she didn't demand the screen enough. But she held her own, and that's why I'm tepid as
Yeah.
well too. Like I was happy that she was casted for it. I was happy that Chris made a very multicolorful cast, and he gave it to her,
Yeah.
and I thought that was good. But yeah, tepid for me.
Was not wrongly cast by
Oh
any
yeah, for sure,
means.
for sure.
Was
Now, now going to the flip side. I'm going to the flip side. So Menelaus, Agamemnon's brother, right, played by John Berthal. I'm
I
gonna
would not
go. Oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, good. Say your rating. Say
Oh
your
no,
rating.
where you going? Where you going?
I was gonna say I wouldn't say same screen time. He gets a lot more
He
lines.
gets he gets more lines. That's what I'm saying
Yes,
though.
okay,
But
but he gets a
screen
lot more
time,
lines.
they're
That's
like
fine.
similar
Screen
screen
time
time.
wasn't my issue. The
Yeah,
line we needed
exactly.
more
He got to
lines.
flex a
Yeah, he
lot,
did.
both figuratively and literally. He's hot. He's hot. He's fire. No, I'm just joking. He's warm. He's warm. He was borderline almost getting hot, but I liked the take of him because that is true to form in the poem. He hit that right, but he also had some layers. Like, cause I always like him. I like his swag that he brings to any production. So he's warm for me.
Uh,
You're tepid. I can feel it.
no, I'm warm. I'm a
Okay.
play Sounds character because there were parts where I was like, "Oh, God, he's doing such a great job. This is
Yeah.
amazing. He's like killing it." And then there were parts where I was like, "All right, yeah,
Yeah,
he's doing fine."
he's just there. Yeah.
But still, it played really well. Once again, acted really well. Like the casting was spot on.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know he had that in him. I
Yeah.
really didn't know John had that in him, that range, and he just did a great job.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
but I am borderline, like I think you said that, borderline hot. Like I
Yeah.
am close, like
There were
right
some
there on
scenes
the
that
edge.
made me want to go, but like you said, like in total, I'm warm.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Couple more, because we had a
Yes,
lot
because
of
there's a couple
characters.
I want to get to,
Yeah.
and if you don't say
Yeah.
it, I'm going to bring it up. So
So let's go with Eumaeus, John
yes,
Leguizamo's character. So he's the
yes,
blind tutor slash herdsman. I can't go hot because I didn't feel like he like every scene. I'm like, ooh, I'm glad you're in it. I'm loving it. I'm just like there. But I loved his role, and I love John, and so I'm a
yep.
warm. I'm a solid warm.
I have so much I could say on John. First, he's an amazing dude.
Yep.
I like I don't do a whole lot on social media, but I follow him on social media, and he's just an amazing, amazing dude. Really like him. I have watched his career from when he was in The Pest, and then did you see The Pest? Have you ever seen
Yeah.
the movie The Pest?
Yeah.
And then he's in John Wick, and
Yep.
then now here he is, and I'm
Yep.
just naming 3 movies, but I'm naming those because the range that he goes from the movie The Pest into this role is amazing. It is absolutely amazing. I
Yep.
agree it is warm, but that is because you're surrounded by this entire cast where
Yes.
like I said,
Yeah.
everything is so good. It is very difficult to just single-handedly dominate a scene. He did an amazing job,
Yeah.
and his range also similar to John. It's like the range is just there. He does such a great job, and really was just so well done. Just
Yeah.
really did a great job.
Yeah.
That's he's the one I really wanted to make sure you mentioned. I was like,
Nice.
please,
Nice.
please, 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 please.
I'll do one more just because she's an A-lister, so Charlize Theron, when she played, the nymph
Calypso.
Calypso. I'm a tepid,
So am I. High
and
five. Boom.
it's nothing to do with her. Again, I think she played the role she was given well.
Yep.
Um, it just the role she was given just didn't have any additional oomph to it to make
I
you
agree.
really see. And like again, it's a different role than what the poem has her slated as, but I thought it was very well done. But it was just like, yeah, it's good, but it's not raising any levels for me. But
Right.
she played well, so tepid for me.
Yeah, I like I said, tepid as well, and she's also a very good actor, but
Yeah,
you're also just everything is the whole movie is surrounded by so many great
yeah, yeah,
actors. It's just yeah.
yeah.
So
All right. Well, we've got two quick more segments to hit. And this is one of my favorites, but this would be very difficult this time around. We are doing what we like to call the Ron Weasley Award. So, for those who've been following, just to, you know what it is. For those who haven't, just quickly, Harry Potter, Ron Weasley was his best friend. Think about a character that brings the main character energy down. Think about a character that is annoying, just doesn't deserve the screenplay. You just have an itch. You're like, why is that character here? Or you think like people think this character is really great, but in fact, you have a different perspective. That is what we're talking about when we're talking about the Ron Weasley Award. And this might be difficult or might be easy. Justin, do you want to take it?
I will, because it took me way too long to figure out who this character was, what their name was, and the actor's name. And I am so amped that I found it. It took me a while. I had to go through all the characters on the IMDb page to get there. But I think it's Iris is how you say it. Irus. Brian, played by Brian Vernal. Let me just say, this is the guy that is sent to kill Telemachus or Telemachus. Gosh, I'm all you rubbed off on me, Telemachus, and he goes to kill him and he kills 2 of the dogs. He kills 2 dogs on his way for absolutely no reason after he takes all the pigs. He kills 2 dogs. Why do you have to kill 2 dogs? Plus, he just has a face I want to punch. I just want to punch it. It just really angers me. And then he had to kill the 2 dogs. And we haven't even touched base on all of the animal abuse for the dogs, the poor dogs in this movie.
Poor dogs,
Now I
man. Rest in
know,
peace.
let me be clear. I am assuming that that no animals were actually harmed in the filming of this video or this movie. But I'm just going to say those were unnecessary. They were not intricate to the entire film. And this guy is the worst. He's the worst offender of them all. I couldn't stand him. And honestly, I would have probably enjoyed seeing him suffer a little bit more than he did.
Fair,
Eat it,
fair,
Ron. Eat it.
fair. I don't disagree. That character was, but I mean, at the end of the day, like the only reason why I don't pick that character is because technically, going back to you and your feels, that character was necessary to drive the story arc and everything else with it. Like so I'm like, I have another character though,
I
right?
don't
So
think
the
it was
suitors,
necessary.
the
Yeah.
suitors, right? We all know the suitors suck, right? Like Rob Pattinson played the best, right? He played the worst, and he played it well. The second suitor, I
Yep.
call him suitor number 2. I think his name's Polybus, played by Corey
Yep.
Hawkins. So he's the black suitor. Listen, I have nothing against Corey. I think Corey also played a despicable character, did it pretty good, but he played it the second despicable character, and he didn't even know he was losing to the first despicable character, right? So it just like, I was like, listen, I'm not saying he's superfluous, but I'm saying he's sort of like, he's definitely number two. All right. We know who number one is, and he was definitely number two. So if we're
That's
picking
fair.
someone who also has animal
That's fair.
cruelty, who
And
kicks dogs, this guy as well too.
yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So we've
I
got two
appreciate
Ron
it. See that?
Weasleys,
We chose the right two.
the right two.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're
Yep.
the right two
Yep.
because those two
Yep.
are just Ron seems like he
Despicable.
wouldn't. I mean,
Yeah.
look how he treats Crookshanks. You know,
It's true.
I
That's
mean,
true.
this actually fits. This fits
This fits.
perfectly in
Yep.
with the Ron Weasley award. Just
It
gonna say it.
does. It does. All right.
All right.
Last segment. Last segment we have. We've talked about this movie. We've hit some scenes. We've hit some characters. Now we have to grade the bad boy, right? So this is fitting. Do you want to lead us in sort of our grading scale? And, you know,
Yeah, love to. I love to because this harkens back to my first course at the Paw, which was Homer and the Trojan War, and we read the Iliad and the Odyssey, and I think we also read the Aeneid at the end of that class too. But our professor, Professor Dave Guinea, who I believe is retiring, gave me and the rest of my class a bit of a lecture on opening day where he explained to us that a C was a good grade. That is a passing grade. That is what to expect. And for us to expect C's to do anything better than that, you have to do very good work, which is a B. And that is how we grade. A C is just your average. It's what you expect. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with a C. A B is a very, very good grade. And then an A is just exceptional, exceptional work. So it is difficult to get an A. And so, he explained that. And so we try to carry that grading scale on in his honor. And we try to keep that going. I am gonna go in, I'm gonna grade this movie. I'm gonna make this simple, make this easy. This is an A. This is an A movie.
ooh,
This is a great movie. This is worth seeing, but I would like to see it again because I don't think I got it all. So right now it's sitting at an A. It was very good. It was
okay.
very good.
I love that. I love that. I think I said somewhere that people like want to rank, great rank Christopher Nolan movies, which I think when we have our co-hosts, our two directors,
Yeah.
Wes and Jay, I think we should rank them or do our top five, top three. I said this for execution and sort of like uh, scene cinematography and visuals and vibe. I think this is top three. And I mentioned like is it actually top three and overall put together? I'm like, I want to see award season. I want to see
Yeah.
where this gets, how many awards, if any, it gets. But I have two grades because for me, I definitely know it's a different vibe. I see this differently
100%.
than I know somebody else might if they don't have the same love for the classics or history context
Yep. That's
with
fair.
that, or vice versa, who have more history, more context. Take a Emily Wilson, like we talked about. I think she thinks this is a fine movie, but I don't think she's going to be giving this an A, right?
Yeah, probably not.
So for me,
Yep. Let's go with
I would
your
agree
grade.
with you. I would agree
Bang
with you.
bang.
I'm
Flavor day.
also an A because of the adaptation. You can fail in so many ways. Death by a thousand cuts. And I only have like a few cuts. So it's like
Yeah.
I thought he made the adaptation really well for the current audience. I think the characters, the actors, the scenes they chose, how they filmed it, what they filmed, who was part of it, like all well done. The ending for me is like the big thing for me. And like
Yep.
that's just like it's minor details when you think about, like you said, you won me over by saying for this audience, for this generation, that is what we're looking for. And that's going to get more butts and seats and more people to pay attention to this. But they will be very surprised when they watch the
Oh yeah.
movie and read the poem. We're like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
So there is a little bit difference there. But for me, it's an A. Now, this is the grade for everyone else. You must see it in the big screen. That is
Yeah.
like homework point number one. You can't see it at home unless you have like a 120-inch screen at home. Then okay, maybe,
At
maybe
least the first time.
the first time. Agreed. You have to see. I'm not trying to make more money for this movie, but this is like let's
You
take
would think
Avatar,
you
right?
would think
Like
we're getting a kickback on this.
we're getting nada. Which, by the way, Chris, just seeing what we're saying here. No, but seriously though, like Avatar, you had to see that in the theaters. Like this is something I think you have to see in the theaters. I think if you're coming to it with someone who has zero context, homework number 2, just do a little cliff notes. Get some context because that will really make the movie better for you. And then homework number 3, expect a B plus movie.
Yeah,
I think
I think
that's
that's
it.
fair. I think that's fair. I think the only thing I would have put, I appreciate that you want to see how the awards fall out and all of that. I think for me, I would just like to, I just want to see it again.
Yeah,
I'd even go see it in theaters again. Mm, and so, but I'll stay with my A. I like my A, but I would like to, I would do want to see it a second time,
yeah,
and I have no problem watching it, you know, on my TV and seeing it, and
yeah, yeah,
going there. It's not. I don't think this is going to be a movie where I'm like for me, Lord of the Rings, where I just rewatch it all the time.
correct,
It's
correct.
not going to be like that.
It's not
This,
going to be
but
that. Nope.
it's a heavy movie.
Yep,
But it's an A. That's how I
yep,
feel. I was very happy with it.
yep. I
Maybe maybe once we calm down from the season,
Yeah,
we'll come
it
back
might
and
be a
regret it
B plus, it
and
might
see
be
where we
A
end up.
minus, but
Yeah,
like what I would say is like we were afraid that it wasn't going to be an A minus A. And I feel
and
like it definitely lived up to the expectations for us, which is
yep,
why I put the caveat. Like I was like, if this wasn't me,
100%.
I would say expect a B plus movie. And if you have less than that, then we can talk.
Yep. Yeah. Slide into Frank's DMs.
Don't do that.
See, I got it in there.
You
I
did,
already
you
I
did, you did. But hey, listen, this was fun. It was a little bit longer than usual because we had to. It's the Odyssey, the
yep,
whole reason for this season. Again, beautiful movie. It's filling in who Odysseus is. We didn't even talk about is he a legend, but obviously, if there's 3,000 years later and you're doing a movie about him, he probably is close to that. But we're saving that discussion for when we have our part 2 or part 3 when we talk about it with our guest host. So continue on with us in this journey. We have 2 separate parts to this. Again, talking about it more from a classical studies point of view, and then talking about it more from a director's lens and just having fun discussions in between. If you like what you saw, what you heard, please like us, please subscribe. It all helps. You can hit us up at the fiction podcast at gmail.com or, send a DM our way on Insta or TikTok or wherever you find us. We're excited to continue this journey with you. Thank you for staying with us. Let us know your thoughts. We love hearing from you. It really does help.
yeah. Only thing I'm gonna add is a shout out to my niece Hadley, who made this sweet dinosaur shirt. Sweet dinosaur shirt for my niece Hadley. Shirts by Hadley.
Shirts by Hadley, man. We should pop up a website and have shirts by Hadley. Who made your other shirt?
Her brother Jacob made my other shirt that I wear.
Shirts by
She made me
Hadley.
a
Shirts
couple. I
by
got a few of
Jacob.
these. I got a few of these now, so
All right.
get ready.
Okay. You're fashion.
Yeah.
Jacob and Hadley. Like that should
You
be.
got
Oh,
it.
that's it. Jacob and Hadley. That's the store.
Thank you. All right. Till next time. Can't
Next
wait.
time, everyone. Cheers.
See ya.